Eddy Blanco here with Blanco Realty.
And Stephanie Heron, also with Blanco Realty.
And we're going to go over this NAR settlement topic today. And just initial thoughts. Age before beauty.
Initial thoughts.
Initial thoughts on this settlement thing and the changes.
My initial thoughts is really, I don't think anything's going to change, because if you were doing what you were supposed to anyways with your buyer broker's contract that you have with your client, then it pretty much it was there before. The only difference I think is now we're going to have to put in that the buyers may have to pay, which I don't like, but
the buyers don't necessarily have to pay.
But you have to put that in the contract. So I think it's going to scare some buyers off, because they're going to be like, well, I'm barely going to be able to make a down payment. What if I do have to come out of pocket to pay her? Especially for first-time home buyers, where they're barely squeezing by as it is.
That is the biggest change. And I think the whole settlement thing was to protect buyers. And for those of you who don't know, so the settlement states we cannot put commission in the MLS. So right now, the commission in the MLS states whatever amount it is, and it's always negotiable. There's no set standard for commission. That's a violation. It's not compliant. So we previously have been putting the commission in the MLS, and we can see it as agents, but it's a private. It's not public, so the public aren't supposed to see it. So there was a settlement about it where we can't do that anymore. We can still put it other places. We can still call and tell them the commission. We just can't put it in the MLS. So that's not going to change as much. What is going to change is the buyers are at a big disadvantage now. This was supposed to be to protect the buyers, but now we have to have an initial agreement with the buyer saying, hey, I can't even take you to look at a house until you sign this, saying I'll pay you X amount if the seller or the seller's representation isn't paying your part of the commission. So now a lot of first-time home buyers, they can't even afford a down payment.
Exactly.
They have to go down payment assistance, and it's their first big purchase. So now we're asking them to have that and an additional amount to pay the realtor. So I don't see things changing much at all. For the good realtors out there, I think we're still going to have our sellers, or we're going to advise them, hey, I would still give a percentage to the buyer's agent, because that's what's going to bring them to the properties. And really, they're not supposed to not or shy people away because of that, but it happens. So I think for the most part, that will stay the same. The bad part is buyers are going to be scared, because now they have to sign that saying I have to pay so many thousands. And what are some of your ways of, what are you thinking? I know we haven't talked about it a lot yet, but how are your initial thoughts on how to get around that, or how to make that buyer comfortable going forward?
I guess, like you said, we haven't really discussed it or thought about it too much on the wordage, what you're going to say to make them comfortable, in order to say, okay, I do want to use you as my buyer's broker. I want you to represent me. It's going to be difficult to get them to see that we're here to protect them. So I guess we're going to need to work on what to say and to make somebody feel comfortable to do that.
So there's one term that I want everyone to catch right now, and remember this going forward, or when you want to buy a house: dual agency. This is a term that when the listing or one agent is representing both parties, it's dual agency. But in dual agency, you get limited representation. So say I'm representing you as the seller, and then the buyer comes and, buyer says, hey, I don't have enough money to pay for a realtor. Can I just buy the house and go through you? As a realtor, I'm going to say absolutely, because now I'm going to get paid from both you guys. Now, the thing is, I have to make that agreement with the seller already prior, say, hey, I'll pay X amount to whatever buyer comes. So as long as me and the seller have that in writing and we've already determined that, now I can get paid on both sides. But here's where the problem comes. So now once I accept that, not only does the seller not have 100% fiduciary duty, neither does the buyer. Now it's limited. Like if I know the seller will take $20,000 less on the house, I can't tell the buyer that anymore. So if the buyer had a different representation, of just an agent representing him and not the other side, he can attack the seller, he can negotiate, he can try to come in lower, he can help on the appraisal, he can help in the inspection to get negotiations that way as well. So you're really in a bad situation when you have dual agency on both ends, especially when it's a property you're trying to get for as cheap as possible.
That's true. Very true.
So what else?
Nothing else.
Well, that's it for today. We'll follow up as more things come, and this goes into effect pretty soon, in a couple weeks in August. So once this comes into effect, we'll see how things play out. We'll see what we're seeing more or less of, and we'll get right back to you guys and tell you the new NAR change and how it's affecting the real estate market. I'm Eddy Blanco, Blanco Realty.
Stephanie Heron with Blanco Realty.